today we're going to talk about the feeling of the comparison and feeling the victory. Usually we have this, when we look at our performance, we have this kind of emotion. Let's say we compare to, let's say, the previous year, the previous months, eventually the budget, and we feel pretty alone, say, okay, did I do good or not compared to my direct competitors? And usually what is good is to be able to compare against somebody else, to say, okay, did finally my performance was better than the others? We created at WeYield a market trend report, which aggregates a lot of data per area. So you have various geographical zones around the world on which you can gather directly on our website some tendencies, some trends, let's say, about the current and future performance, but at geographical level, not comparing between competitors. Okay, so you may know these elements. So we've invented our first tool to be able to compare the performance with your competitors. I'm Emmanuel Scuto, the CEO and founder of WeYield. I'm in the car rental industry for the past 20 years, dedicated only to car rental yield management. And we help the car rental operators, either independent companies or franchisee, to, the one who usually feel frustrated between the way they perform or the way they pilot their performance and what they would like to get. And we help them to change and to transform themselves. We are here for about 30 minutes. In order to get the maximum benefit, I would recommend to put you on the flight mode on your telephone and eventually switch off your notifications and your email for just 30 minutes. Anyway, the presentation will be recorded, so you will be able to see the replay afterwards. So I would like to start with a question. If you so we have a question, if you can check on the poll side, which is the first question. If you see in a scale from low to high, let's say 1 to 4, how much would you like to compare yourself with your competitors? Yes, most of the respondents said that very much. 67% said yes, it would be very useful, and 33% said could be interested. Nobody is not interested. So we have developed a new tool that is called the Car Performance Index, called the CPX as it's called, and it is done in order to be able to compare in a, let's say, confidential and trusty way. So WeYield will play the game, or will play as a trusty third party for the rental companies. You know, it's forbidden by law to compare and to exchange your data. If we look at the European law mostly, but it's also the case in Americas, in other countries in the world, usually it's prohibited to do any agreement, like also sharing data, in order to avoid any distortion of the competition within the internal market. So that's the reason why long time ago, you were able to exchange some let's say data with the airport authorities, which is not allowed anymore. And we try to, let's say, gather some data from the competitors in a certain way in order to maintain this confidentiality. So we have created what we call the basket of competitors. So it means that in our CPX, you will have a set of competitors that will be aggregated, and you will be able to compare your performance with this basket of competitors. Okay, and we decided to have only 5 competitors or minimum. Why? Because it should not be possible to recompute or to do a reverse computation in order to evaluate the individual performance of each of them, which is forbidden by law. So We have decided to work on 5 different indicators: the RPD, the revenue per day, the utilization, the RevCAR, which is the aggregated or the computation between the utilization and the RPD in euro, the number of checkouts to evaluate the volume of business, and the total fleet. These data will work on the past only. We are not going to share forward information. This forward information is available on the market trend report and is for free, but it's not accessible at a competition level or a city or a country level. So what does it do? That is the presentation of the CPX on our web apps. Okay, you have either 2 possibilities. Either you can connect on the desktop or on the mobile. We have some boxes that are really well designed in order to ease the reading on the mobile to get instantly what was the performance of last month for me compared to my direct competitors. So we have various ways to display the criteria. If we take the focus on the revenue per day, we'll have first my rank or my place on the market. In this example, I am 1 out of 4. I have a relative score. Relative score means like when you do 100, you did as similar as the market. If you are above 100, you took more market share on this indicator and you did better. If you are lower than 100, you did worse than the competition. Then we share the indicator for you. That is something which is not confidential because you are looking at your own data. And we compare with the market level for this particular indicator. In my example, it's 39 euros for the market, while I was doing 43 as RPD. On the graph, we will have the last 12 months, rolling months displayed with my RPD and the market highest and the market lowest. Again, we cannot display, we cannot disclose the individual performance. I know you would like to have it, but it's forbidden by law in most of the countries around the world. And also, we give you for the same indicator, we are still on the RPD, what was my average rank for this month, the same month last year, and also on the 2 last boxes, what is my positioning, my rank over the last 12 months in a row, okay, versus the same 12 months in a row the year before. And we can see what were my score set also per competitors, but we are not going to disclose who is at 84 points. The last elements for you to be able to compare who is in the market, you will have the list of the competitors listed on which we aggregate the data in order to build this CPX car performance index. So there is no, what you have to take and really carry back is like there is no share of confidential data. There is no possibility to identify any particular individual performance. We have the possibility to retrieve for the one who are already registered or subscriber to our tool. We have the possibility to get their data directly. For the others who are not yet client of WeYield, they will be able to load their data manually at the end of every month. And the subscription will be based per vehicle, per cars and trucks, per year. And we're going to see more details later. So if we go to a broader illustration, this is the main screen. You have on the top on which month we are looking at. Right now we are April, so we looked at the last known month, which is March. We have the market. Then we have all the KPIs preset, okay, so automatically computed. And we see that the revenue per day has been highlighted in blue. So the graph is linked to this particular box. It's really similar to what you used to have in the WeYield apps. So we have the revenue per day. And the light blue area shows you who is the what, let's say, the corridor of the difference between the lowest and the highest in terms of performance. The blue line, it's you as the reference. It's really similar to what we do also for the rate shopping. As you remember, for the one who are subscriber, we have this blue line as the reference line, which is you compared to the others. Then we have the score, the rank that I was just saying, and the market. So let's jump into an example. I would like to now present you an illustration of what could be a real study case. Okay, so I've taken real data, I've just anonymized it in order to for you to understand exactly what could be the analytical scheme or the analytical process in order to compare your performance. So let's go back to the presentation. So I am on the reporting side for my company. Okay, I have anonymized the type of data. We are looking at the month of March, full last month's actual, and I've selected some cars. Okay, so I usually focus on the cars, not on the trucks. What do I see here? I have my last month's performance. I can see that I made 32 euros revenue per day and 32% utilization. Keep in mind that this example has been done on Caribbean islands. It used to be their high season. Unfortunately, due to the third lockdown, they have a lot of restriction and to avoid traffic there. And so their performance has really been hit by this new lockdown during their high season. So that's the reason the performance is extremely low, and the variation versus last year is also pretty bad. So we have this 32 euro RPD, we have this 32% utilization. Now, if I want to check my competition performance, I can click directly on this cup submenu on the navigation bar, and I'm directed to the competition car performance index. You remember, I was doing 32 euros for March. Now I can see that effectively I made 32 euros and the competition made 28. So compared to the RPD and the utilization I had, which is 32%, the rev car for that period is 10 euros. Remember, the rev car is the computation between the RPD and the utilization. So right now, for the last month, I had 10 euro rev car, while the market made 11. So it means that the market was doing better than what I was doing, even though the situation is extremely tense, under tension due to this lockdown. Eventually, is it due to the utilization? Apparently, yes, because I have done 32 while the market did 42. So 10 points higher than my own performance. So is it potentially the result of too much fleet eventually? So I had too much fleet than the others, therefore it impacted my performance because I've had a bad utilization. When we look to fleet, we can see that I was doing a little bit, I was lower in terms of fleet than the competition. So I got 609 fleet for that month as an average, while the market got 671. So apparently, my fleet was under control and I don't have any problem, or I don't have too many cars that could explain why my performance has been hit badly. In terms of checkout, here there is a problem because I made 200 checkout less than the market. So if we try to make a sentence out of this analytics, we could write, or we could read that my bad rev car performance, which is highly my profitable performance, versus my competitors has been impacted by a higher RPD, hitting negatively my demand. Yes, I was selling too much, good RPD performance, but it hits my demand too much, and so my utilization versus the others, even though my fleet seems to be under control. So the concept is really to give you the the feeling of being able to understand, yes, I was doing good, but not on all the criteria. And when we enlarge the vision, the scope of my analytics, I can figure out that effectively I had a pricing, let's say, tactic. Maybe I'm happy in terms of RPD, but overall, in terms of performance, I was doing worse than the others. So it's not only a question of looking at yourself and being happy or not, it's also to look at the way the market is behaving and to have this feeling of, yes, I won. So I had an extremely good performance over the period, and I won against the other. The second question is, would you think it is useful or it would be interesting for you to subscribe to get this type of data on a monthly basis? First answer is yes, for sure. The second is not at all. We have 100% yes, it would be interesting to subscribe to this tool. So that's cool. Okay, so there is one question, which is, do we get to select which competitors we compare to? Yes, you can select those competitors. However, minimum 5. And also, those competitors has to be, let's say, pretty homogeneous, consistent compared to you. Meaning by that, you cannot compare you with one direct competitors, and the 4 others will be like very small, local operators with 50 cars. Why that? Because mathematically, you will be able then to recompute, to reverse the computation and understand what is the performance of your direct competitor. So we are going to pay attention to how you are going to select your competitors in order to maintain the confidentiality and the consistency of the data. So how much this data cost? It costs €1 per car per year, not per month, per year, okay? And we take the full average fleet you have for the year, and it will cost you this amount multiplied by €1. Keep in mind that we will open the access to the car performance index as soon as you have 5 minimum participating suppliers. Why? Because if you have only 2, you will be able to compute and understand the performance of your colleagues. So it's a way also to enlarge this. Sometimes locally, what do we see? We see some operators that like to exchange some data, either undercover or during some association meetings, which is forbidden by law again. So be careful. Collusion is totally forbidden, and you should not distort the market. The concept of having this, again, confidentially managed by a third party like us, it's like nobody will be able to access to the data. It's not something, again, that we do not invent the hot water, okay? It has been there in the hotel industry for decades, and the airline industry for decades, and even in the car manufacturing, as you know, some data, they have access to all the registrations of the new cars, and they are able really clearly to say, okay, how many cars being sold by Peugeot, Renault, Ford, Opel, whoever, on a regular basis. Why? Because this registration of new cars has to be recorded by the administration, and therefore it's a common access database. We want to enlarge this data.
We have a new question from Dionysus.
Yes. To which countries it is already available? Right now we have this on Caribbean islands, and as soon as we have 5 participating operators in one country, we could enlarge it. So I know that this question is coming from Greece. So we have many data on this area. As soon as everybody wants to participate, it will be accessible, minimum 5 again. So keep in mind that for the one who are not subscriber of WeYield apps, they will be able to load their data manually. If the data loaded are cheated, for sure, the reading will be cheated. So your comparison with the market. So it's something also that we need to grow up to behave like an adult and share this data the smartest way in order to elevate, increase the knowledge on the market and be able to avoid crazy sometimes decision on the performance. Usually we feel a lot that many operators increase their fleet instead of playing on their prices whenever they want to increase their performance. It's a way also to understand how the market is currently behaving. This is the presentation of the new module CPX, Car Performance Index. Feel free to contact your customer success manager, either Noémie or James, and for sure you can contact me directly if you want to know more and see how we can set it up for you. This presentation will be available on replay on the WeYield YouTube channel. Feel free to connect directly. You will see the previous replays from James and Christian and some tutorials also that we did previously. There is a lot of learning elements that you can gather and connect for free in order to widen your knowledge. I try to make it as quick as possible, as efficient as possible. Hope that the information was clear enough. Anyway, feel free to contact me or the CSM. I wish you a good day and talk to you very soon. Bye-bye.